All right, here I am at it again, making use of the free time that I have available to get this series done before I go back to work on Monday. All right, I promised I was going to talk about package management in my last episode, so here we are, and let me get some eyeballs on so I can see what I'm doing here. Okay, the first stop is a package management utility called Aptoide. And the way you get this is by opening your browser on your Android device and going to aptoide.com and download the installer for this. Let's take a look at it. Aptoide finally, after all these years, has a dark theme, which is something I really like. And actually, I use Substratum and the pitch black theme on my device, and Substratum does require root in order to fully theme. Now, I believe that Substratum would actually theme this as well. Okay, now, what makes Aptoide unique is that let's say you downloaded an application from the Google Play Store and it got updated, and then all of a sudden that application doesn't work anymore. Okay, well, you could uninstall that app, and then you could look for it on Aptoide, and then you could choose an earlier version of the software and get it to work that way. Let's do a check, for instance. One of my favorite games, we'll press the search button here, and one of my favorite games is Lollipops. And for those of you who like Bejeweled, Chuzzled, and 2048, they have different variants of the game. So one is like Bejeweled, one is like Chuzzled, that sort of thing. Okay, and so here's Lollipops. And nice little time-wasting game. You know, if you're sitting in a doctor's office and you're waiting and that sort of thing, you could open up your Android and play a quick little game. Fun stuff. Or if you can't sleep at night and you're laying in bed and, you know, open up your Android and sit there and play a few games. Okay, but what you usually want to do is, with Aptoide, you want to read the comments, okay? Because usually, sometimes you have to question some of the people who upload software on here. Obviously, the Aptoide developers can't keep an eye on people who are sharing apps, and sometimes malware can get into the mix here. So you really need to read what the comments are on these applications, because you want to make sure that you're downloading and installing something that's safe. Okay. Now, it's saying here the latest version is 1.24, but let's say 1.24 had a bug in there, so you might want to download and install maybe 1.23 or 1.19. You have that ability with this Play Store application, whereas you don't on Google Play. Okay, so I like that option too, but as stated, my only issue I have with this is that you have to be careful where you need to read what people say about the application to make sure that you're not downloading an ad machine for your device. You don't want that because they are on here, believe me. Take my word for it, they are. Another neat thing about Aptoide is it does have the ability to keep all of your apps on your Android up to date. Now, people who would use Aptoide are a lot of people who maybe are using devices that do not have the Google Play Store installed. Okay, and there are some people that will run their Android that way. This is a good option, and it's probably the best option out there for people who are running mods without the GApps software installed. So this is pretty good, but buyer beware, user beware when using this. Always make sure that you read the comments that people have. Okay. Let's minimize this, and then let's go to my next choice in the list, and this one is F-Droid. Okay. Now, to get F-Droid on your device, you will need to visit, just do a DuckDuckGo search for F-Droid. It'll take you to the website. You can download the APK either using your Android browser, or you could sideload it using your desktop browser, whichever you choose. The first time you run this, you will need to tell it to refresh the repositories because nothing will show. And if you want to install the Bromite web browser that I showed in the last episode, you will need to do a DuckDuckGo search, because on the Bromite website they give you instructions on adding its repository to F-Droid, so you'll want to check that out. But what's really neat is you can get a bunch of applications here which are free and open source software that are not allowed on the Google Play Store for one reason or another. For instance, if you have an application that does ad blocking on a Android device, it is not allowed in the Play Store. So I think there are ways around that. So let's say the most popular one is Aptoide, okay? Because Aptoide will scan your Android device, and it will detect which applications contain adware and give you the option, or will at least let you know which applications you should uninstall. And Aptoide also changes your hosts file, so that you're blocking ads from coming in through the hosts. Thereby, you don't have to have an ad engine on your web browser, because it's already in the hosts file of the device itself, and it prevents ads from displaying on many of the apps and games. And while I believe in purchasing paid apps over having an application that's throwing advertising at you constantly. I'm for the fact that if a developer makes a good piece of software, they should give you an option to pay for it, so that you don't have to see their ads. So I do that. I have a bunch of paid apps on my Android device, and I will purchase apps that I know I'm going to enjoy using. So, at any rate, so yeah, so there's that. I had to add a repo for Bromite, but the next app I'm going to search for is Aurora. Okay, now Aurora Store is a Google Play Store client, which is a little bit different. Okay, now people who would want to use this, for whatever reason, are unable to run Google Play on their devices, but still want to be able to get apps from the Google Play Store. Okay, F-Droid gives us a warning. This app has features you may not like. If you click more here, it'll tell you this app provides access to non-free network services. Okay, so if that bothers you, maybe you might not want to install that. Okay, but this allows you to, the Aurora Store allows you to anonymously search for and install apps from the Google Play. Let's take a quick look at it. Okay, we're going to go next. We'll allow it the permissions that it's asking for. Okay, and then you don't want to sign in with the Google account. Okay, you want to do anonymous. And it will log in anonymously. Okay, and then from here, it's going to display all these different apps. Maybe I might want to change this so that I can change the user interface and maybe go with a dark theme. Okay. And this is also another nice feature that no other package manager for Android has. You can spoof your device. So you can allow the Play Store to display applications that are not made for whatever device you're running, but are made for other devices so that you can get a copy of the software. For instance, the game Lollipops 4 is unavailable to this tablet. However, I was able to retrieve the APK from my phone and install it on this device, and it works. But it does provide that spoofing capability. You can basically tell it which device you want it to download apps for, and then you can use this program to download those apps. I'm not going to do that right now because, I mean, I have it working for what I want, but this is an amazing feature, okay? Let me show you something else that it does that I really like. Let's say I want to search for a file manager. I'm going to click the filters button here. All right, I'm going to tell it I don't want paid and I don't want an app that contains ads. And then I'm going to apply that. Okay, now it's going to filter out all the programs that contain ads. And if I wanted to, I could also tell it I didn't want GSF dependent, but I'll leave that as is. So when we look at the application here, okay, it doesn't say whether or not it contains in-app purchases, though, okay? But if you allow this root access, it will automatically be able to install applications, much like the Aptoide. But I don't really allow any of these programs to do automatic updates, with the exception of F-Droid. Because F-Droid, well, that's free and open source software, and you can also download older versions of the software, much like Aptoide does. So that's a good thing, but this one doesn't do that. At least this gives you some filtering for those of you who want a GUI. And so this is a nice option, allows you to anonymously download applications from the Google Play Store. So this is a must-have for all those who want to get geeky with their Android. All right, and of course, everybody knows the Play Store, okay? And obviously, the first thing I did when I set this up was I told it, do not automatically install updates, because there are, like for instance, the Google app, which provides a number of features like voice search or Android Assistant. All right, right now I have that disabled. But when I do enable it, I don't want it to update because I only turn it on just to get that one little extra feature, and then I'm going to disable it again because I don't want it eating up all of my valued space on my internal storage. You know, and on a 16 gig internal storage, that fills up really quick, even with using directory binding. Yeah, you can fill it up. So one thing I like to do is disable or prevent certain pre-installed apps from downloading updates and that sort of thing. So when I use the Google Play Store to update apps that I've purchased, you know, I can go in one at a time and take a look at each one and decide which one I want to update. So that's a good feature in that as well. Really not much else to say about Play Store that I care to right now. Everybody has it on, most everybody has this already preloaded on their, and it's a necessary evil. But let me show you a neat little trick for finding apps without in-app purchases or any of that nonsense. So let's go ahead and minimize this here. and let's go back into Bromite. Okay, now a duel on my forum jumped the gun this morning. Shame on you for doing that. And shared this link on the forum for those people who are looking to find decent apps from the Play Store, especially parents. Okay, they want to get some good games and stuff like that for the kids to use that don't contain ads and don't contain in-app purchases. And I can tell you, it can be an addiction for some people, you know, because a lot of applications and programs in the Play Store have that pay-to-win model. And so this link will help you get around that. And this is called K-Play Search. Okay, I actually found this one about a year, maybe about a year or half a year ago, when surfing around on Reddit. Okay, and this is a really neat little piece of web software, so I recommend supporting the developer of this so you can keep this running. What this does is it allows you to define a maximum price that you're willing to pay on a piece of software or free. You can search for ad-free, in-app purchase-free. You can define the minimum number of installs. I keep this off, okay, because sometimes you're not going to find anything. The minimum score the app is, the maximum size of the app, when it was updated. You have these options, but personally, I just use it just the way it is as default. And let's have a look at some of these. So let's do a file manager. Sometimes the searches will take a little while. Okay, and you can see that we've got some items that are listed here. The first one that's listed is Moto File Manager. Let's have a look. What you're going to see is it's going to automatically open up the respective page on the Google Play Store, and it's basically telling me this package manager is incompatible with this device. So I can't really install that one. So let's go ahead and go back. And why don't we have a look at Simple File Manager? Okay, I've installed this one and looked at it before. Nice, but didn't have the layout or look that I wanted. You know, I like the dual pane file browsing, so I can copy and paste and move files easier and that sort of thing. And I like it only in portrait mode, since I do 90% of my things in portrait mode. So yeah. But this is an option because it tells you in Google Play, if right underneath the title, if it contains ads or in-app purchases, but it does not give you the ability to filter those out. So you're by using an application like this, you're kind of cutting into Google's revenue there, because but this is the best way to find applications, especially if you don't want to have in-app purchases and that sort of thing. But let's do another little search on this here. Sometimes if I want a lazy game to play, like a slot machine, all of these are pay-to-win models, okay? And I'm probably not going to be able to even find one that doesn't have ads. Searching, searching, searching. But I have in the past found I have a couple of them that I've played that are pay model. You pay for them, and then yeah, it's still searching and not finding anything. And that is the case sometimes if you're looking for a game or something like that, or a certain style of game that doesn't have ads or in-app purchases. Yep, it says no result. Okay, well, maybe we'll uncheck ad-free and do a search. It's got ads, but it doesn't have in-app purchases. let's see what we get on this now. All right, it looks like it found 2 of them, and it took a long time to find it. So there's no in-app purchases, but there's a Diamond triple slot machine and a triple 100X pay slot machine. Let's take a look at them and see what we got here. All right, it contains ads, but it doesn't contain in-app purchases. Okay, so it found 2 of them. But, you know, most of the games in these series of this kind, the little slot machines, pretty much they all have a pay-to-win model. But you can dig around and you can find them. So it is possible. So this is a handy website indeed. Let me read that address out loud again to you guys so that you have that. You want to go to playsearch.kaki87.net. Okay, that is playsearch.kaki87.net. Probably the best Play Store search for applications where you can filter out those in-app purchases ad-free. All right, so let me do a brief little go over this again here. Clear all this off. All right, so I've discussed Aptoide, where you go to aptoide.com to get a copy of this software. F-Droid is, I think it's Fdroid.org, but just do a DuckDuckGo or Google search and you'll find it. And then Aurora Store is available from F-Droid. And Playstore, well, that's already installed on your device. And then, of course, you have the little web app that I just showed you. And that will enable you to get applications installed into your Android device. All right, the next stop on our tour, I'm going to cover my favorite devices for root. And, well, not all of them are even listed here. Some of them are not listed. But, yeah, I think that would be a good opportunity because really, you're not using Android unless you have unlocked the power of root. All right, that's all I have for now. So I will close by saying a little bit of love goes a long way. So please be sure to take some of your time today and be excellent with somebody. Until next time, peace out.